Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Covert Knits podcast. My name is Abigail Covert. I'm your host. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is Sunday, May 10th. It is Mother's Day here in the U.S., so if you're celebrating, happy Mother's Day. I am coming to you from sunny Omaha, Nebraska. I want to thank everyone for joining me today. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you are a new viewer, thank you for checking out my podcast. I really appreciate the support. So let's talk about what we're going to go over today. First, we're gonna go over what I'm wearing. I have two finished objects for you today and just one whip that's getting my attention this week. After that, I'll talk about a few knitting goals for the week and my goals from last week, and then also a couple of podcasts that I have been really interested in this week. I also have one small stash enhancement, so we'll go over that as well. So I hope you can grab your trusty drink. I've got my Diet Dr. Pepper, as always. So grab your drink and join me for a few minutes of knitting chat. Okay, so first, today I am wearing my Weekender. This is a very well-known pattern by Andrea Mowry. She's Drea Renee Knits on Instagram. This pattern came out a few years ago, and I knit mine last summer to take with me on a vacation. So I knit mine out of Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, which is their worsted weight woolen spun yarn, and it is the yarn that the pattern was originally knit out of, that Andrea's pattern was knit out of. I knit mine in the Colorway sweatshirt. So this is a fantastic sweater to throw on. I mean, we call it the Weekender, and I throw it on almost every weekend. It is one of my most worn knitted objects. So I love it. I would highly recommend it for anyone. I did knit it with a little bit less positive ease than the pattern called for, but that's the nice thing about knitting, is you can knitting your own garments, you can knit them to the specifications that you want. Okay, so that's what I'm wearing. So let's move into finished objects. Again, I've got two this week. The first is a Mother's Day gift for my mom. I showed last week wool dryer balls that I purchased online, and those are part of her gift, but I wanted to knit her something as well. So I knit her a pair of the paddle knits. This is a pattern by Tincanknits, and I've knit 5 or 6 pairs in the last year or so. I won't try these on because my mom's hand is much smaller than mine, but you can see here. So this pair I knit out of Rowan Yarn Baby Alpaca DK. The steely blue color is called Zinc, and the creamy white is Jacob. I've had this yarn in my stash for close to probably 5 years. Always intending to be a pair of fingerless mitts for my mom. That's what I bought the yarn for. It was originally going to be a different pair of fingerless mitts, and then she actually saw one of my episodes from a few weeks ago where I showed a finished pair, and she said how much she loved them, so I decided that I would pull this yarn out of stash and knit her that pair of fingerless mitts instead of the ones that I had originally planned. I do have quite a bit of the white left over. I'm not sure if I have enough to do an opposite pair with white as the main color and the zinc as the stripe in the adult sizes, but I might have enough to do a child size. So that may be a gift that I knit up for a future, just the gift box. I did knit the adult small size, and I used I used the needles in the pattern. It calls for size 3 for the ribbing and size 5 for the body. So that is that finished object. I know she's just gonna love it. This yarn is incredibly soft. I don't use a lot of Rowan yarn, and in fact I think this was the only Rowan I had in my stash, but it is incredibly soft. It is 100% alpaca, so this will stretch a little bit, which is part of why I'm not trying them on. But I know my mom always wears everything I give her, so I know she'll get a lot of wear out of these. So that is finished object number 1. And then I have my second finished object, which is my In the Light shawl. It is by Day-Crosier. This was the one that I just couldn't put down last week, so here it is. Let's start at this end. show it first. Get it all in there. It's quite big. And then here's the end. So, I used Neighborhood Fiber Company in their Studio Sock Base. The colorways are Cleveland Park for the blue. The blue color is Cleveland Park. The green is Clintonville. And the orange, orangey red, yellow, is Eastern Market. These were 400 yard skeins, and this is what I have left of all 3 skeins. Takes a lot of yarn, which I love. You hold the yarn double, which I think is fantastic. I did do the fringe version, which takes a little bit more yarn than the non-fringe version, and you get both options in the pattern. You'll notice here that I did play yarn chicken and I lost, so I ran out of the orange while I was doing the last section of fringe. So we ended it with the only color I had anything left of, which was the blue, the Cleveland Park, which I'm okay with that. I was happy I was able to use almost all the yarn. Let me put it on for you so you can see. This is probably how I'll wear this shawl. It is big. Since you hold the yarn double, it is a worsted weight shawl. So it's very warm. It's incredibly soft. I love this yarn. And I just love how it looks here. And you can get all 3 colors in there. This pattern was so much fun to knit. I couldn't put it down. It's why I don't have very much knitting to show for the week, because it all went into this project. So much so that I have already picked out yarn to do another one of these shawls. Let me grab it for you. So I have 3 more colors. The yarns I picked for the new one do have a little bit more yardage. They are 435 yards per skein, so I hope that will help me not run out. But it is these 3 beautiful colors here. And this is Leading Men Fiber Arts. And it is their Show Stealer base, which is an 80-10-10, 80 superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. That's blowing out a little bit. There we go. That's a little bit truer to color. It's not quite so neon-y. This color is Rubber Ducky. This color is Nude Scene. And this color is Envy. So, for those of you that don't know, I am a big University of Oregon fan, and their colors are green, yellow, and white. So, I will be knitting this to have a nice Oregon-themed shawl for all of my Oregon activities. So, this will eventually, I don't know that I'll cast this on right away, but I know that the next one of these in the light shawls that I make will be made out of this yarn. Used up all my yarn. I did use a size 8, I think, needle for this. And I love it. I love it so much. I can't wait to wear it. The colors are bold and vibrant and everything I could want. This will definitely probably be something I have to wear in this fall and winter, but I'm okay with that. All those dreary days made bright by these beautiful colors. So, okay, that is my second finished object and my last one of the week. Pretty much focused on getting those other 2 projects finished, the mitts and the shawl. So then when I was finished with those, I was able to move on to my Mini-Montrealer, which is a design by designsbydelz on Instagram, or Vincent Deland is his given name. And this is a child size version of his adult size Montrealer. It is a hooded sweatshirt. It will have a kangaroo pocket in the front. So it's a provisional cast on so that you can add the hood after. I am knitting this for the 4-year-old size. I'm knitting this for a child that will grow quite quickly. And obviously, as we're heading into summer here in Nebraska, they won't be able to wear it much over the summer. So I want them to be able to wear it in the fall and winter, in the upcoming fall and winter. I am using Knit Pick Swish DK, which is 100% superwash merino, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, 100% superwash merino. And then the colorways, the gray is their Marble Heather, the blue is Gulfstream, and the pink is Carnation. So all the rest of the stripes will be the blue Gulfstream that you just have. I just did the one stripe in pink, and then the pull string for the hoodie will also be in the pink, the Carnation. So it is being knit on size 5s. I'm using Addie's Addie Turbo size 5. And I think that's about it. This is the second one of these I've knit. It's going pretty quickly, especially once I got past the raglan increases. I find that anything with stripes tends to go quickly because I just want to get to the next stripe. That is my one whip for the week. Okay, so that is really all of the knitting I got done this week. I didn't touch my socks or my baby blanket or my City Limit sweater. All of those I'm hoping to work on in the coming week, but I just had other things that just were drawing my attention, and since none of those have deadlines, I wasn't too worried that I didn't work on them. Let us move on to my knitting goals for the week. So last week my goals were to finish the In the Light shawl, which I did, so check mark on that one, and also to get past the raglan increases on the Mini-Montrealer, which I also did. Oh, I totally spaced this, but I'm housing the Mini-Montrealer in my Nanette Wake drawstring bag. Nanette Wake Studios on Etsy, I believe. She weaves the fabric and then sews it into project bags with a fun lining. I have 2 of them. I have a zippered one, the smaller zippered one, and then I have the drawstring one. So she has great products on her website, and I would highly suggest checking her out. And because I always forget to mention this, show notes are in the description box below. So yes, my Mini-Montrealer, get it past the raglans, done, and finish the In the Light. So those were my 2 goals for the week, and I succeeded. I only have 2 more knitting related goals for the upcoming week. The first is to get the Mini-Montrealer off my needles. That project is something I've wanted to have done for a long time. There's no deadline or anything like that, but I bought the yarn and wanted to get it knit as soon as possible so that it was ready to gift when it's needed. So that is the priority for the week, knitting wise, is to get that finished. My second goal is that I would like to host a knit along in June, and I have all the ideas ready to go. So I want to, or all of my ideas thought out, but I need to get everything ready to go so that I can announce that when I record next week. So if you are somebody that likes knit alongs, or is interested in a knit along, I will be posting all of that information next week, and after I record. So my goal knitting wise is to get that everything organized and ready to go so that I can do that next week. And it will begin June 1st. So I want to kind of give everybody some time, if you guys are interested in joining in, give everybody some time to get things together for the knit along that would begin June 1st. Only thing I have left to talk about is the podcasts I've been watching. Okay, so I watch a lot of podcasts, as a lot of people do. And this week I want to highlight 3. So the first one is the Heybrownberry Podcast. This isn't a podcast that I just started watching this week. I've been watching her for almost a year probably. I've watched all of her back episodes. Her name is Mars. I love her podcast. She does them a little bit differently than the standard finished object, whip, stash acquisition kind of thing. We still have stash acquisition. We'll do that after podcast. So she does them a little bit differently, but I really like that about her podcasts. They feel a little bit more organic, and I could honestly listen to her talk all the time. Her voice is very soothing to me. When I need to just have a few minutes of calm knitting time, I'll grab my needles and put on one of Mars's podcasts and just watch it. So, Heybrownberry on YouTube and Instagram. Her podcasts are fantastic. I would highly suggest them. The next one is a new one to me that I heard about from another podcast. It is the guys at Needles at the Ready. It is husbands Kevin and Ray. I feel like everything that they're knitting is things that I have knit or want to knit. I really love the two of them and how they kind of chat back and forth. They are a newer podcast. I think they've only got about 10 episodes or so out there. So if you're somebody like me that likes to catch up on back episodes, they're a good one to check out. They've only been podcasting for less than 6 months or so. Anyway, I really enjoy them. I like that they talk about movies and books and yarn, and they have really inspired me to kind of look at some projects and patterns that I've knit in the past that I loved and really would like to knit again, but you move on to the next great thing and you forget about. So they're great. Again, that's Needles at the Ready on YouTube, Kevin and Ray. And then the third podcast I want to talk about is Amy over at Happy Little Yarn. And I really have to thank Amy. She actually gave me a shout out on her Instagram, and it was so sweet of her to share my podcast. And so I had not heard of her. I had actually just heard of her from the Needles at the Ready guys. So I went and checked out her channel, and I've watched several of her podcasts, and I really am enjoying those. I'm watching back episodes now because that's my thing. I go find a podcast that I enjoy and watch the back episodes. So Amy over at Happy Little Yarn, she's just excited about yarn enhancement stash enhancement as I am. So I always love seeing those kinds of podcasts. So Amy at Happy Little Yarn. So those are the podcasts, and I think I did say we were almost done, but I have one stash acquisition that came this week. It is not yarn. It is a bag. So I ordered another bag from the Lila Styles Etsy shop. It's linked below, but I'm a huge Gilmore Girls fan, as a lot of you already know, and when she had her Meet Me at Luke's bags, I knew I had to get one. So this is her bag. Let me see. I think there is her label. The inside is just a kind of patterned white fabric. So it came with this. She sent a sweet thank you note with her card and some tea in the bag. And then she also included this cute little button. She believed she could, but she was really tired, so she didn't. That's totally me, 100%. This will be going on one of my bags. It's super cute. And I ordered some bags from her before I showed them in a previous podcast, and I forgot to mention at that time, she sent along in that package a mask for me, which is literally the mask I've been wearing anytime I have to leave the house. So it was very kind of her. It was just an extra that she threw in that she did not have to. It's a little crumpled. I just pulled it out of the wash, but so yeah, that was so sweet. She just threw that in because she had some extra fabric from one of the other bags that I had ordered, and the kindness of the people in this community is above and beyond. So that is all I have for you guys this week. Thank you so much for joining me for just a few minutes of knitting chat. I do have to do one quick shout out. My cousin, my dad's first cousin, my first cousin once removed, I don't know how that all works, Cindy, is a viewer out in Virginia, and she called my parents to let them know that she'd been watching me, and that was just incredibly sweet of her to reach out like that. So thank you, Cindy, for watching. I hope you enjoy, and I hope everybody else has a great week, and until I see you again, bye.